Today's episode is with Kim Cadzow. She's a New Zealand cyclist. She's currently the double champion of New Zealand in road race and time trial. She also rides for EF Education Oatly. And what can I say? She's just a great chat. Surprisingly, well, not even surprisingly, she just is a very lovely person. And it was great to get a chance to natter and to learn a bit more about what makes her tick. So listen in. If you like this, do drop us a like, subscribe, all those good things that make number go up and make me feel good. I know you want to. And until the end of the show, just enjoy sitting back and listening to me chat with Kim Cadzow. Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Awesome. The obvious place to start, and where I like to start in general, was how did you get into the sport? Where did that kind of come from? Where did your journey begin?
I was a competitive swimmer for 8 years.
Okay.
And then I stopped swimming and I met my now husband, and he was a triathlete actually at the time. Um, and yeah, just the usual story. Like, I wanted to hang out with him more. So he was like, oh, come riding, come running. So I did some riding and some running. And then I started doing a little bit of triathlon, but I never really fell in love with running. And so I started entering some cycling races in New Zealand, and I guess that's sort of how I got into it.
Oh, nice. So when you're a swimmer, what was your distance that you raced over?
200 and 400. So like 200 back
Okay, not too bad.
what I am. Yeah.
Yeah, the IM always looks fun. Um, Hard work, but fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that was something like I liked it because it's a bit like it's the only thing in swimming that's a little bit different, whereas it's a very monotonous sport. So I think I used to get bored really fast, and that was at least one thing where you did a lot of the different things in one race. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because the thing that always baffles me is the freestyle is technically you could do anything you like. It's just everyone agrees that front crawl's the best stroke.
yeah,
Makes that you technically could do a backstroke in a freestyle race.
yeah.
Um,
I think, yeah, I'm the same. Like, I always now look at swimming and I'm like, isn't it just like super, like, it's super funny when you actually look at it. It's like, okay, now we're going to swim 4 lengths with, trying to do it with two arms out the water at once, um,
mhm.
and one big kick. And then we're going to do it on our back. And then, like, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, being like, oh, I'm going to ride our bike backwards for 100 meters, and then we're going to ride it forwards, and then we're going to try like go zigzag with it and see who's the fastest. It's like
Yeah, and you get medal they've not got the time trial over 40K, the time trial over 20K, the time trial over 10K. Like that would be fun though. I think they
yeah,
should mix it up in cycling. Just have an Olympic gold for road race of
yeah,
10 laps.
yeah. I guess it's a little bit like the track
Mm.
in terms of like racing there, because yeah, they're like, oh, now we do it starting behind a bike, and then we do one where you like slingshot your teammate, and it's a bit similar between the two of them.
Do you think you ever would ride track, or are you just roads your happy place?
I don't know. I'm definitely the kind of person who's open to trying a lot of different things. If I got the opportunity, maybe I'd give it a go. But yeah, I don't know. I just the only my biggest problem is like my. I think I would have to work really hard. I trained my fast twitch fibers when I was a swimmer, but I haven't done it for a long time. So
Mm.
I think yeah, it would take me a little bit to get into it.
Yeah, awesome. So you said that you started in swimming and then moved to triathlon to be with your partner and husband. When did the sort of cycling dream kick in? And yeah, did you ever think it could be a career for you?
No, and it kind of like it became a bit of a tumble effect for me with cycling. I was trying to do the triathlon and I was entering like the half Ironmans, and I got really injured doing the running. I think just also from being a swimmer, you don't really build up that ability to do impact sports. And anyway, so I I met my first ever coach. I like got injured and was just riding the bike and just swimming, and then my triathlon coach was at the time was like, oh, you should do New Zealand nationals. And I did New Zealand nationals, and then I started to really enjoy it, and I met my then cycling coach from New Zealand, and he sort of introduced me to the idea of it because I'd never heard of it. I didn't even know that like until that moment you could actually race your bike like solely on the road, and
Mm.
I think yeah then he introduced me to his daughter Michaela Harvey, who races in the World Tour Peloton, and yeah, I sort of like I slowly like found out about it as I did it, and everything sort of just fell into place really quickly.
That's awesome. And like, so you did New Zealand Nats, and you seem to have a fairly good track record there.
Yeah.
Having won both disciplines. Yeah, how does it feel when you get to be the New Zealand champion and represent your country in that way?
Yeah, like I won the under 23 time trial. And that was such an awesome feeling. Like it's not something I expected to happen at all. And then when it did happen, I won it by like zero point 0.1 or something. It was so tight. And then like that was really awesome. And then I came over here and raced in Europe, and now like also this year. Um, it's funny. I really going into New Zealand nationals this year. Like I was really tired. Even though I know I just had a break, I'd come off the Australian block and was just struggling a little bit. With just overall being a bit burnt out this year. And I actually didn't want to go. I was like, oh, I don't want to go. Like because everyone's going to be there and people have started to know like who I am, and I don't want to turn up and like I guess make a fool of myself. But my dad's really good, and he's like, oh, like you just go and just do it. Like you have nobody to impress. It doesn't matter. Like you've never been someone who's really worried about like what other people think. Um,
Mm.
because I just am definitely the person to just take every single opportunity and just go with it. I was the same at school, and so then I went, and yeah, to win it was really really special because my whole family came, and like my dad, both years he's driven in the car behind the Peloton with the water for me and a few of the other girls we know, and it was so nice to just have them there and be part of it. And it's New Zealand National falls on my dad's birthday every single year, and every year
Whoa.
he comes and supports me when it's supposed to be his birthday, and we'd always do something afterwards. But yeah, like it's nice to feel like I sort of could give back a little bit to them as well.
Oh, that's awesome. And did they have to travel far? 'Cause as I understand, you're from sort of Otago, like south of the North Island area. I don't know where nationals are held or whether
I
they
think
change each year.
the last 2 years has been around like a 3 hour drive from where we live.
Okay.
It's not so bad. Um, but yeah, still like even my dad, he bought like a really cheap scooter in New Zealand and has been like my motor pacer, which is something he loves
Oh,
doing. Like he absolutely loves it, and he loves like killing me. Always goes a little bit too hard, but yeah, it's definitely like not just me now. I guess they've all really really helped me out a lot. So it's
yeah,
always
because
always like I love New Zealand. Like I will always end up back there. It's my home. Um, and yeah, to be able to represent the fern whenever I can is the best feeling.
yeah, 'cause it's such a beautiful country. Because I went there when I was like 10, so many years ago. I won't say exactly how many, but too many to really contemplate. Um, and yeah, we started in Auckland and then like slowly worked our way down and like spent a bit of time in Otago, like Napier, I
Yeah,
think is that, and then Wellington, and then crossed over into South Island
yeah,
to finish in Christchurch at the very end. And like there's some crazy cities like Queenstown where it's like just
Yeah, so I
I
live like 2 hours from Queens, or like an hour from Queenstown.
yeah, it's just crazy because like we were walking like just to get into the town from our accommodation, and
Yeah.
then like someone parachuted into a school field. Like it's like it's just a Monday. Like sure, fine, this is something that happens.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's the like that's what we've grown up with and what we like appreciate so much about the place. And like to be honest, I absolutely love Europe and I've seen so many places I've never ever thought I'd be able to see, especially by bike. But yeah, like I will always end up back home just because I love it.
yeah, and it always seems like a quite a chill place. I don't know what it's like to live in, but
Yeah.
certainly on our holiday, it was like so chill and like everyone's like, yeah, you know, we're here in Australia, but like lovingly in a way.
Yeah.
And you know, we're just chill and everything will be all right no matter what's going on. I think Lord of the Rings was just coming out, like the final
Yeah,
one when I was there, so it was like
that'd be quite cool.
crazy for that as well.
Yeah.
Um, I suspect you're maybe a little young for that.
No,
Uh,
yeah, I've watched all of them, and then we actually did a friend's birthday at the Hobbiton, and they hired it out privately, and that was
God.
probably one of the coolest experiences because they have like now um, the Green Dragon pub and everything, and you actually
Mm,
go in there, and they've made all the like mugs and glasses the same as what they were in the movie. It's super cool.
wow, that must be so crazy. Cause
Yeah,
like, yeah, we did a tour and saw like bits of it, of like where they filmed things, like in the first one when when they're going down the river and there's the two like guardian statues,
yeah,
and we were on that cliff face. Is like that's wild to think that that's just where Peter Jackson filmed it, and
yeah,
like yeah, it's a lovely country, and yeah, I can hear how much you love like representing. Because it did make me laugh when I was looking through your Instagram, like as research, and you were like, oh, I really like signing for EF, and I really love pink, and then you've ended up national champion, so you don't get to wear any pink,
I
like
know.
your helmet. It's like there's a bit of irony to that.
Yeah. Oh, but like I think this has also been because yeah, obviously it'll be our probably our last year with Rafa, and it's been amazing because Rafa
Mm,
made me my New Zealand jersey, and I don't think they've ever made a New Zealand jersey before. So that was really cool.
no,
Um,
no, I'm just trying to think who could have won it to
yeah,
have had one.
so I think yeah, like that was super special to have that made.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, it's always really really cool to be able to wear your own jersey um, that's been made for you, and even the bikes that they made me from Cannondale. Well, the coolest bikes I've ever seen. They have. I always write a little symbol, draw a little symbol on my stem notes, and they actually painted it into the frame of my
No
bike.
way.
Um, so that will be always on my bike.
That's kind of cool. And for people who aren't like super familiar with cycling, like what is the purpose of the stem notes and what do you have on yours?
Yeah, I mean, stem notes are just reminders of things for you, whatever they may be in the race, whether they are key points on the course. So, like like if there's climbs in the race, you write down, what kilometer they are, put them on your notes on your bike, which sit where you can see on the stem, or really key points like where you're going to get bottles from the team, where there could be maybe a crosswind section where you need to be in front, um, like really key points like that. And also, if you're working on something, a lot of us, I mean, not many people would know, but we tend to you're always working on something, whether that be like maybe it's controlling your breathing or having better posture, or a lot of us, it's a really high stress environment, and it's really important sometimes in a race to remember like to take a breath or relax or just even just smile, because you're just like so caught up. I call it like tunnel vision. It's this
Mm.
kind of like the whole time. And I actually draw a little like cowboy on my bike with a hat, and that says basically like yeehaw on it. And it's actually just a reminder for me to like embrace and kind of enjoy the chaos.
Mm.
So yeah, that's
Yeah,
what.
'cause like, how chaotic is it in a kind of women's World Tour peloton?
Yeah, I think it's funny because when I first got into it, I think because I didn't know what I was getting into, I wasn't as nervous actually and scared.
Mm.
I just mm, almost your body takes you, it's a smart thing and becomes kind of like survival. So your sort of natural instincts come over and you're not scared, you're just reacting to the situation in the moment. But sometimes as you continue to race, and if you don't sort of work on your mindset, you almost lose that kind of reaction. And before you go into the race, you can almost become more scared, more anxious, because it's, yeah, you've got people attacking, from this side, or in the peloton, you've got girls pushing at you from all different angles, people trying to get through, people yelling at you, people talking to you in the earpiece, in really chaotic moments. Like you've got, if a big crosswind is coming through, or you're trying to take bottles from the side of the road, there's really a lot going on. You've also got your teammates speaking into the radio as well, trying to tell you where to go, what you need to be doing. Um,
Mm.
so it can become like a really, really stressful environment, especially if things going wrong or it's a really crucial moment.
Yeah, 'cause to me, I'm like, hearing you say about like relax and breathe, I'm like, I know that you're gonna be like hurtling along at 50 k's, like
Yeah.
30 mile an hour, just. And I have done some races where that's happened, where it's like we've just been almost in the neutralized section, or like really early on, just on a nice flat road at 30, and it's like
Mm.
sometimes if you're in the pocket, it feels nice, but as soon as you become kind of conscious of what's going on, you're like, oh shit, like I'm traveling so fast, and
Yeah.
like there's not a lot of protection either. Like if you crash, that's
No.
that's gonna hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's that, like, that it's going to be going full gas basically until the breakaway goes, and you don't get a
Mm.
lot of time to eat and drink in those sort of moments. And then when it does slow down and you look down to grab your bottle or to check your notes or look down at your Wahoo or something, that's the moment that you can see it and be like, all right, yeah, like I just need to take a moment and then reset and go again.
Yeah. Um. So starting your career though, you didn't start in the World Tour. I mean, you know this, but people at home won't. You started with, well, from what I can tell, the first team on first cycling is Torelli. At the time, Torelli Scimitar Cayman Islands, I believe. I think they're just now Team Torelli, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think, but it seems like a really lovely sort of mix of riders. And you did the tour series, which I was like, I had no idea, because like that was the year I was watching it as well. Um,
Oh, you would have seen me off the back. There's no way you were seeing me.
that's right. I mean,
I was
it
just
was a,
chasing everybody all day, being like, "What have I
yeah,
done? Why am I in this?"
yeah, because like, what was it like to race? Is there much of a crit scene in New Zealand, or were you like completely naive to criterium racing?
I'd never done a crit in my life. Like I could count the number of races I'd done on one hand. Um,
Whoa.
didn't know at all what was going on, or even basically how to go around a corner. We do some races in New Zealand which are like, yeah, it's just like basically one way, and there's nothing like a actual proper criterium corner which goes completely like back on itself.
Mm.
um and I'd never ridden in a group that size, so to me it was so foreign. I didn't know what was going on. I was just hoping that it was going to end soon and that I wasn't going to get pulled as well. I would just
Yeah.
chase everybody.
Yeah, because like it was. very literally foreign because, racing in Europe. Like, how did you even end up on the Torelli team? Like, how did that opportunity come about?
Yeah, so the coach that I had in New Zealand, when he was introducing me to the idea, he'd managed to get some Kiwi girls in previous years into the team and knew the owner of the team, Tony, quite well. Um, and he just contacted Tony and was like, "Oh, I've got these two girls who are interested in racing. Do you have any spots?" And so that's kind of what Tony did. He gave, the chance for riders who didn't have a resume, hadn't really done any races, but just sort of showed that they really were interested and wanted to give it a go, an opportunity. And and then I was just like, oh, I'm going to go over to Europe and race for this team.
Wow, that's crazy. And then I can't think of many people who have both the Tour Series and the Denivel Challenge on their sort of resume, especially top five, I believe you got at that race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Sadly, I can't remember who won anymore, but I remember it being
Lots
like,
of
yes, it was. Sadly, recently retired. But like, what would did that like trigger a moment in you where you went, oh yeah, maybe I could race in Europe? Because like a top five is a 1.2, I guess, or a 1.1 race, but like decent standard and UCI.
Yeah. Yeah. I think um I I had no idea actually, to be fair, about the different races and styles, to be honest. Like when I came over, I was just, Tony would be like, "Oh, we've got this race in Belgium, or we've got this race here," and like we didn't even have access to the course. Like I didn't have the map on my Wahoo or Garmin or whatever. I just looked at the book, maybe if Tony had it, and saw the profile on there, but like you just went in completely blind compared to a lot of the other
Wow.
girls. We did have some world tour and pro teams in those races, and yeah, when and then also like I knew Mont Ventoux was on our resume, and we went there a few days early, and I rode up the mountain and was like, oh wow, this is quite a nice this is quite a long climb, and I knew that I would be better going uphill because I was just tended to be quicker than like the guys, or I used to be able to keep up with the guys that I was riding with in New Zealand rather than when they were like sprinting on the flat. Like I found that really hard. So I knew it would be like a good opportunity for me. And like actually on the day that the race happened, like I woke up and I wasn't feeling that great, but I wasn't feeling that bad. I was like, oh, maybe I've just got like a small cold or something. And then I remember being on the start line and like looking down, and I thought that someone else had connected to my bike computer. And then actually the evening that we finished the race, then I actually found out I had COVID. So like, but I didn't like, I didn't feel like as bad as I did the next few days. And I think it's also like when you're looking forward to something so much. And I was so excited about the race and everything that like I was like, oh, I'm racing, like I really want to do this. And I think almost I just didn't maybe accept the fact that I felt did not great. But then when I
Yeah.
finished the race, my coach like looked at my heart rate data and he's like, oh, there's something either really, really wrong with this or like you are not very well. But
That's incredible. Like you smashed the top five going up Mont Ventoux with COVID. Like, yeah,
I look
fine.
at it now and I'm like, oh, I mean, it was amazing and the experience was awesome, but it was not the smartest thing I'd ever done. That's for sure.
No. But then if you don't know that you've got it, you're just like, oh well, I must be like under the weather, just see how it goes and just
Yeah.
I guess follow the wheels. And yeah, like with climbing you can just well
And
actually
I'd never had COVID or anything before, and I like had kind of forgotten about it because we'd kind of moved on from that at that stage, like, but not completely. So I was just like, oh, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's madness. And like, what mindset do you get in on a climb? Because I mentioned earlier about like when I'm racing, if I become conscious of what's going on, it's sometimes a worse thing than if I just kind of put myself into the hurt locker and just turn off the brain. Like, how do you cope with racing, and what mindset do you go into?
Yeah, like I think back then, I almost sometimes wish I could actually still go into the mindset that I had back then because I was just so inexperienced. I really didn't know what was going on and why. Like, I remember I was leading up the climb for a while and everyone was hiding behind me, and I was like, huh. Why is everyone like hiding behind me? And then, like,
Mm,
because I just didn't know that, like, yeah, I could save probably a lot more energy if I just, like, was hiding behind the person out the front. But I think, yeah, the in terms of like racing, the mindset, it has changed a lot. But I just you just get sort of into this kind of like tunnel vision, like fixated mindset that you just need to stay as long as you possibly can um,
mm,
with the front. And then like if you get dropped, I'm always like, oh, but I can come back, like, because I just always have that kind of will until it's really
mm.
really over, that like I will come back. I've done it so many times before. I can come back. It will slow up, and then that's the opportunity. And quite often when you can catch people off guard, and I think especially when I was climbing, um I just knew, like, I definitely trained a lot myself, so I knew what power I could push. I knew um like how long I could go for, and I think that it's just that kind of like I can challenge myself a little bit more than that. Like, how much more do I have?
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. And how do you see yourself as a rider? You obviously you've got that result in the Denivel, but you're also the national TT champion. So clearly you've got talents in multiple fields. Like, what sort of rider type do you think you are?
To be honest, like, even after this season, I'd say I'm not 100% sure still, and I'd like to
Mm.
try next year doing it a little bit differently. I think I've struggled maybe with the lifestyle of being a climber, and being like a sort of Grand Tour rider. Um, it's something that a lot of people really, really want to do, but it is really a lot of pressure, and also comes with maybe not the most enjoyable lifestyle around it as well. So um, I just enjoy pushing really, really hard for a long time. Um,
Mm.
whether that be uphill, whether it be on the flat. So, you know, I also like, I won my first race from breaking away from the Peloton. And I think that's the sort of style of riding I like, and want to do more of, in terms of being able to attack, and um, just having that opportunity to, yeah, I'm technically maybe not as good. So being out of the Peloton is, for one of my benefits.
Yeah, there are riders like that. I can't remember who it used to be, but there's always some rider that, like, if you saw him, he was either at the back of the group or off the front of the group, and he was never like
There's no
comfortably
in
in the
between.
middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think Ethan Hayter's got that title in the men's at the
Yeah.
moment. If you want to take the women's crown, feel free.
Yeah.
Um,
And we do get a lot of
yeah.
stick from it. It's like, oh, just learn to be in the bunch. You'd save so much energy. Just like, and I think, you can learn it, and it's not something that I'm like opposed to doing. But I also think that there's only so much you can push yourself at one time. And a lot of us who haven't been on the bike since we were, 5, it's
Hmm.
quite a hard skill to pick up rapidly. It comes with a lot of time. So you've got to use what you can with what you have at the moment.
Also, does it save energy? Because, like, if you're, I mean, physically it does, but mentally you're gonna then be stressing about, like, oh no, I've got to be on the break, like, and you end up twitchy and anxious, and then that takes a lot of mental capacity, and actually, you can't relax, and therefore, being relaxed in the bunch, yes, great energy save, but I think I'd rather be at the back and relaxed there than
Yeah,
stressed out in the middle, saving leg watts, but using
yeah.
all my mental energy on it.
Yeah, and I think that's what I have learned a lot as well. Like I've pushed myself and a lot of other people have pushed myself to try and learn to be in the middle, but I know there is that balance for me because otherwise I end up like spending a lot of mental energy, and actually I'm just so, and that's actually when I start making mistakes when I'm in that for too long, because I just get so mentally tired that I actually can't concentrate anymore.
Mm.
And I start to lose that sort of like reaction. But I know that if I do it for short periods of time, then it's fine, and can get that sort of balance, save a little bit of watts. Um, but I think, yeah, overall, I still do need that time at the back just to be calm and relax and then move up again.
Yeah, it's the way to get the best out of you, and I think a lot of armchair fans maybe don't see that.
Just
Um,
move up. Oh, why do
yeah,
I go back? You know?
yeah, exactly. Um, I wanted to talk then, like, how you developed from riding for Torelli. You then went to Visma, I think. I,
Yeah.
I started to doubt that as soon as I said it. I was like, did she? Did I get my research wrong? So yeah, you moved over to Visma, and like, how was that transition? And again, how did that opportunity come by you?
Yeah, so when I came to Europe, I got myself like a manager at the time, and she started trying to like message some teams as I was doing like a little bit of racing. And then, yeah, Visma said they were interested in taking me to the Netherlands and doing some testing on me. And actually, yeah, they signed me off testing, which was, I think, quite brave. Uh,
Hmm.
and maybe a mistake on their behalf, maybe not a good thing for me, but I think they didn't maybe look into my background enough. And then when I did come into racing for them, obviously, I did, I think the year before I did 5 UCI races, and the rest was the 4 Tour Series races. So
Hmm.
I still only did like 9 or 10 races that year. Um, and the year before I'd done maybe 3 in New Zealand, so I was, yeah, a lot less than, yeah, I maybe did 15 races, and to go straight into doing world tour racing is a big jump. um
Mm.
and also, when you ride for a small team like Torelli, you're working for yourself because everybody is just sort of signed to the team, and you just need to try and get a result so you can. It's a stepping stone to go somewhere
Yeah.
else, but you're not really working as a team, um, in the way that World Tour works. And I think that was a big challenge for me, and also to permanently move to Europe was really hard. um, just trying to sort all those things out, which, like, every country has a different way of, like, you can get an apartment and you need,
Yeah.
to get this number to get this, and all these small little things. And also, like, a lot of us have a problem in New Zealand and Australia that to get a visa is a big challenge. And I
Mm.
think a lot of the Brits have that problem now as well. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, it's really hard, and it becomes really stressful. And then with the racing stress on top of it, maybe I wasn't the rider that they exactly expected me to be. um yeah, I could ride up a hill really fast, but as I said, I didn't have any other aspects. I'd never even raced with a radio in my ear because we didn't have them in Torelli.
Hmm.
So that's all a lot of different stuff. I'd do a race on, I did it on a gel and 2 bottles. I just didn't know anything about nutrition or those side of things. And yeah, I think they were surprised and a bit shocked at how little I knew in terms of road cycling. Um, and that I was now just this rider in a bunch of pros who wasn't really sure what she was doing. And, the girls tried their best, and like Mariana Voss, she actually like helped me quite a lot. She taught me a lot in that year.
Mm.
But it's a very sort of um, box environment that you need to fit the shape and the mold, and you do it this way. And for me, that was really hard because I've always sort of been the person to just like I like taking the information, the experience, and using it, but I also like to live a little, and I have a personality, so I think I found that quite hard to fit into that environment, and why I made the change the next year to EF, because I just knew that they were a lot more free and creative, and they wanted to race aggressively and try different things, so it made the cycling a lot more enjoyable and fun.
Yeah, when you were talking, I was like, oh yeah, I can see how EF would come about as a sort of certainly the vibe I get as a fan. I
Yes.
can't claim any knowledge of how they work internally, but how it comes across of like even the little things of like announcing the Giro squad like practically when you're on the start line at
Yeah.
presentation or whatever because they're always last. Um, it's all very much like yeah, as you said, like using that shape analogy, like other teams maybe have a mold that you have to fit, whereas here it's you take that information, you make your own shape,
Yeah.
and we see where we can fit that shape into our structure, and whatever shape we get, um, that's what it is, and we respect that person, and everyone's
Yeah.
valid. And I really respect that.
Yeah, and there's something like I really value, and I know a lot of riders, they crave that structure, that they need, like Yumbo, that sort of shape that they have to fill, because otherwise they can't get their training done, they can't follow the nutrition schedule, they're not like, um, they want that rigid structure. So for some people it really works, and for some people it really doesn't. And I think it's really important to find a team that sort of fits you,
Mhm.
and your personality. And I think, yeah, with EF it's really nice because it's a lot of people from a lot of different cultures, which creates that kind of acceptance, and that we have to learn about each other, and what works and what doesn't. And everybody is kind of a different shape, a different personality, but somehow it all kind of gels together and we make it work. And I'm not saying, we don't argue, of course, like we always have things that happen in the team, but I think it's really good that we can work things out between us, because we understand that we all come from a very different upbringing, a very
Mhm.
different world, and we have to bring that all together and make it work, because otherwise that nobody's going to get a result.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of yeah that weird quasi team sport that cycling feels of it's like it's an individual sport done by teams. And it's kind of like that makes no sense but
Yeah.
actually makes perfect sense at the same time. It's kind of a duality of everything. um I was just going to finish off because like there's been so many things you've done, like top 10 at the Tour de Suisse, top 10 at the Vuelta, like crazy good results. um Obviously you mentioned the race you won. Was that the Trofeo Ponente in Rosa, I want to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Which looks like a lovely race. It's in
Oh,
Italy,
so
so I mean I bet there's tons of pasta and
yeah.
wine and oh
And the organizers were so lovely. Like they were so,
yeah.
so lovely.
I mean, if the organisers happen to be listening, I might be free next time you host a race, and
Yeah.
if you want to fly me out there, don't hesitate to call. But yeah, like this year hasn't been so positive at times. I think it, it's been a bit of an effed up year. Let's just say. Um, yeah, because I read the caption on your post about that, and it was like every time I thought it couldn't get worse, it somehow did. I was like, what a year. Um, how has it been for you? How are you feeling at the moment?
I think, yeah, it's been such a hard year for me. I've never, like, a lot of the injuries I got, you almost couldn't script the year that I had. Like, I started joking with my husband. I've been calling myself Mrs. February because I think I peaked in February and then it all just went downhill from there. Um, and yeah, as the year progressed and it was another thing and it was another thing. And, you go to the doctors, and for some reason, whenever you get an injury, it's always 6 weeks.
Mm,
Like the recovery is always 6 weeks, and for some reason I never ever made it to the end of the 6 weeks. So it was just a consistent 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks. And I really started to struggle with that, and I was like, oh, I'm never ever going to get to the end of this. Like, this is just a nightmare. um and I think also I really started to fall out of love um with it a bit. And actually now, haven't taken haven't taken a step back. And last year was a really big year for me, and I almost felt so I didn't probably take the rest that I needed um last year, and I just got really burnt out as well, and I'm sure
mm,
that contributed to what's happened this year. And I'm almost like, at first I was just so angry because I just wanted to race and race like in a good form. But every time I got injured, like my form got worse and worse. And every single time I went back to a race, I felt worse because I just felt like the peloton was getting away from me, and I was just like so unfit and I couldn't keep up. And it was really frustrating to have been so in so many finals last year. And I think now I'm actually really grateful that I've now been able to take like a proper rest. Like, I had 6 weeks off the bike, which is much longer than even my off season normally is.
mm.
And gotten back into it so slowly, like painfully slow, that I was like, oh, this is just, annoying for like 3 weeks of 1 hour rides. I'm like, oh, just give me something more. And I think that's been really actually important for me to be able to now feel like I want it and I want to do it and I want
Mm.
to do the progress again. And like, it's a really, really slow build up for me again. But I have that time, and I have the time to kind of use and learn and fill in with the missing pieces that I felt like I was lacking in the last few years.
Yeah, it's kind of when you're talking, it reminded me of that phrase or adage or whatever you want to call it, where it's like you either have to take a rest or your body will do it for you, and
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
yeah, my body.
like it really did in a big way. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, if it went downhill any quicker, it'd be winning the slalom at the Olympics.
I
Like,
know.
it was just yeah, it was. I'll put a screenshot of the post so people have a chance to read it whilst we're talking right now. Um,
I think
and
it was
speaking,
funny, yeah, because my mum always said, "Oh, well, but Kim, like, things come in threes." I really believe things come in threes, and then like it was three, and then it was four, and then it was five, and then it was six, and I was like, "This theory does not work at all."
I mean, six is a multiple, so maybe it was just two threes come at once. Um, you just have to hope that it's not three threes, although
Yeah,
that would be quite nice. And then you know it should definitely be
I
ended
think it
then.
might have been three threes when you start to like deep dive into it.
Yeah, just freeception.
Yes.
Um, But yeah, speaking of Instagram, how can people follow you, keep up with your journey and all the twists and turns it takes?
Yeah, I think, yeah, the best way that I tend to post a lot on Instagram, Kimberly at underscore Cadzow, which is my last name. And yeah, I think that's probably the best way. I tend to put a lot of updates on there and follow the team as well because they like to keep the world updated, which is EF Education Oatly.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll put both of those in the show notes. I'll also put them on screen right now so that people can see it. I always make sure to emphasize that so I know when I'm editing that I've just said it, and yeah, that there should be a screenshot. So if anyone's listening kind of passively but wants to know definitely what it looks like and how to spell everything, there it will be. Um, And yeah, like, I guess, are there plans to get back racing this year, or is it going into next year by now?
Yeah, this year, like I'm finished. I'm done for this year.
Yep.
I need to rebuild the body slowly. So yeah, well, I'm looking towards next year. Hopefully, I'll be back for Tour Down Under, which would be really nice.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on there. And any other races that come in the 2026 season, which sounds insane to talk about right now. But I mean, Worlds is around the corner, so yeah, it's gonna be crazy. And yeah, thank you so much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Well, there you go. That was a lovely chat, as I said. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Here's to a successful or more successful 2026 than 2025 for Kim. And yeah, until next time, see you around.